Hi there, and welcome to your GG replay for Friday, August 20th, 2021. GG Replay is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday show where we break down the latest in gaming news, hosted by us, the Goodnight Groofs, a place for games and a place for goofs. Still workshopping the slogan here, but it's a beautiful Friday. I am Paul. I'm joined always by Matt. I will remind everyone as well, Fridays we start off with a little bit of soda chat, a lot of little soda facts. It started as just like a random banter, and now we have a couple minutes dedicated to talking about some trivia about our favorite sodas. Matt, I think you have something prepared today for us.
Yeah, I don't even remember how this started, but I do have a super special Friday soda bit of insider info, Paul.
Incredible.
This is big, okay? The headline. Keurig Dr. Pepper launches Pepper Perks loyalty program.
Okay.
Right? So here's some of the brief bullet points here for you. Keurig Dr. Pepper announced the Pepper Perks loyalty program for its Dr. Pepper brand. Fans of the soda who sign up for the program scan the receipts of Dr. Pepper purchases to earn points and win rewards.
All right.
As part of the launch of Pepper Perks, members, it sounds like there's a Peppa Pig to it almost.
Pepper Pig
Perks.
or like Pepper Potts from Iron Man.
Yeah.
It sounds like Pepper Perks as a person. Hi there, I'm Pepper Perks.
That's perfect. That voice is
Thank
perfect
you
for that.
Yeah, it was not bad.
Members will have the opportunity to receive the new limited edition Dr. Pepper Fantastic chocolate flavor once they earn a qualifying amount of points. They will also be able to redeem prizes such as branded merchandise and enter for a chance to win a trip to the College Football Playoff National Championship game. The final bullet point. Keurig Dr. Pepper is looking to reward its frequent buyers with exclusives such as new flavors, which have proven popular with the soda category's young core customer base.
Interesting.
Okay. I'm interested in these new flavors. Chocolate, maybe not as much.
No, I'm not sure about
overall
chocolate.
New
Although
flavors.
Chocolate soda is interesting. I don't think there are enough attempts. I think they gave up too quickly on something like chocolate soda. In the universe. Is Yoo-hoo? Is that chocolate soda?
Kind of. It's like
I've never had a Yoo-hoo.
I've never had it. I've had it maybe once, like 15 years ago.
That's what it's supposed to be, though, right?
I think so. I always thought of it more as like a chocolate milk, but I don't know if it's like carbonated or not. It's been so long. And I had friends that like all through middle school, like that's all they drank. You know?
Yeah. 100%.
But I really
Yoo-hoo is manufactured by Keurig Dr. Pepper. So maybe that's where they're getting the chocolate from.
That could be. Yeah, sharing recipes.
Interesting. Makes sense. When Dr. Pepper was just, I forget who invented it, but he just was like, it'd be great to pour all 23 flavors from my soda fountain into one drink. That's Dr. Pepper. Yeah. Incredible idea.
Yeah, the inventor of Dr. Pepper was that annoying kid at McDonald's who's using every single flavor.
Mixes every flavors. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is pretty darn interesting. Do you get enough? I guess it's Dr. Pepper specific, right? So if I get Keurig products or something, that won't probably count.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Pepper Perks. I'm very interested, though. That is an interesting fact. And, if anyone's interested in Dr. Pepper, we talk about Dr. Pepper a lot for people who don't really drink Dr. Pepper. Feel free to check out Pepper Perks. God, I wish this would be a great sponsor.
Oh,
by the way, for the future. Really great. All right, let's get into this show. We have a lot to talk about today. It is a laid-back Friday episode, but there's also a lot of stuff. Before we get in, just want to remind everyone, we're not always right. So if you come across any necessary corrections in today's episode, please send them to ggreplayShow@gmail.com or head down to the YouTube comments below so that we can address them in the next episode.
Paul, before you move on, real quick, I
skipped a big announcement.
Yes, I do want to reiterate that we are going to have our first ever GG Replay live for Gamescom 2021 opening night live on August 25th. Come watch us, enjoy the show with us, react with us. Would love to conversate with some of you new listeners who we haven't had the chance to meet yet. Our pre-show starts at 1:15 p.m. Eastern. It'll be on twitch.tv or twitch.tv / Goodnight Groofs. Link is also on the website. Give us a follow. You'll be alerted when we go live. And then the VOD will be uploaded to YouTube either later that day or the following day if you can't catch it live.
It's gonna be a lot of fun, Matt. I'm really excited to do opening night live. It's gonna be a blast.
I'm pumped.
I'm really there's some really good hype around that, and we're actually gonna talk about some games that are being hinted for opening night live later in the episode, which I'm very excited for. All right, so we're moving on, Matt. Reviews are in. The reviews are in. I'm going the opposite of the Scream today. There are a ton of games. There are a ton of games that have been reviewed, gotten Metacritic scores today of varying quality, and so that I think is worth bringing up.
So here's the thing. I just want to kind of a little inside baseball for the listeners. We're only including games in this segment that have at least 6 reviews on OpenCritic. And it just turns out that all these games, a lot of these games that we're about to cover had like 6 or 7 or 8 reviews. So,
just enough.
Yeah, just enough. So we have a lot of them for you today.
Excellent. So we're starting off with a JRPG, Witchspring 3 Refine, Story of Iridy. This one got a 45 on OpenCritic, and if we know game critics, we know 45 is basically 0. I watched some reviews of this game. I'm not a huge JRPG guy. I think the actual art style and the general concept of the game seems fine if you're interested in this kind of game, but it seems to fall out hardcore in basically being so bare bones there really isn't a game. There's barely anything there. I think that's the gist I got. So definitely, even from people I saw who were interested, it seems to be a pass. It seems to be a skip, this one.
Yeah, in my notes, I just wrote no. This game looks really bad. So
yeah,
even in the trailer, like this is not a taxing game by any means, but the trailer had a low frame rate. Yeah. It's like, what are we doing here?
It looks like Pokemon Diamond or something, like Brilliant Diamond, the new ones, but uglier and somehow can't run on a PC or something. So yeah.
And the weird ass name doesn't help.
Really weird name. Really
like a lot of JRPGs do have weird names, and I just every single time I see that, I imagine like this cannot possibly help marketing. Like it makes it difficult for people to search it. Like if I'm trying to buy this game, if I'm searching it on like the Nintendo eShop or whatever, I might not even find it. You know?
Or find clones or games that are similar too. Yeah, worth bringing up. Moving right along, Mayhem Brawler, kind of a, arcade brawler, 68 on OpenCritic. That's also out right now. It looks fine. The art style looks kind of cool. It looks very Saturday morning cartoon. There's like random buff alligators you can fight. It's a side scroller, beat 'em up. Looks fun.
Yeah, I generally, I don't really care for an arcade brawler if I'm not literally playing it in an arcade. And I kind of, if I'm playing an arcade brawler, I kind of want the art style to be old school arcadey, and this is not really that. So
I actually don't. I find that those things are, I actually prefer not, I think, in that style, and I haven't seen enough games like that. This isn't enough to sway me to play an arcade brawler, but I actually, seeing this footage did make me kind of want to pick up, like I might, after this, look up some ones that are lauded, that are modern arcade brawlers or side-scroll beat-em-ups, and see if there's something that might be interesting for me. I might check that out. If anyone has any suggestions, by the way, feel free to send us an email, ggreplayshow@gmail.com, or leave a comment, because I would be very interested in seeing some games like this that are a little more exemplary of the genre.
Yeah, go for it.
Moving right along, we have Rims Racing. This is a motorcycle racing game, 70 on OpenCritic. I will say this looks cool. From what I've seen, if you're like it's a hardcore racing sim, I think, kind of like an F1 or a Forza or something. I find, from what I've seen, hardcore motorcyclists seem to think this is not very accurate in some ways,
really?
or not. Like some of they limit you a lot in certain tire selections for different weathers, and I don't know that it's not 100% as good as it could be as a simulation. But that being said, I thought it looked really, really cool. Actually, I'm not really into playing such a hardcore kind of like racing sim game, but I really do. The different views were really cool. The third person view and the over the windshield view were really, really nice, actually, and it looked very responsive. It interested me more than like a car racing sim would.
Okay, interesting. I'm waiting for good racing games on PlayStation 5 because I feel like the DualSense is gonna be amazing for some of those.
Again with the DualSense over here, talking about the DualSense all day long.
It's an amazing piece of technology, Paul.
It is. It is. So I hear. Moving on, talking about PlayStation, Fracked, which is a PSVR action shooter, got a 77 on OpenCritic. This game looks awesome.
It does.
It looks kind of like Borderlands kind of
Yeah,
design, but
yeah.
also I'm getting kind of like that Portal, like you're in like a science lab maybe or something at points. I don't know. It looks really cool though. From the reviews I saw, the big draw is how good everything feels, how the gunplay feels, despite there only being limited guns, how good it feels to grab things. You can grab like a door and look around the corner and things like a lot of really tactile movement within the space, which is really cool. So this actually was another one of those things that made me think, I wish I could play VR because I wish I had VR stuff because I would actually give this a go for sure.
The freedom of movement looked really cool. A lot of VR shooters don't have that. They have like the teleporting mechanic, and
Yeah.
this looked really cool. Because of that, it looks like it could potentially like make me sick to play it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're right, the game looked super cool. Like the art style is awesome. It's almost like a cell shady type thing, but not like full on cell shaded.
Yep.
And it's got like this, I feel like there's like an attitude about this game, like a comedic, humorous attitude where it's not really taking itself seriously. It's almost
Yep.
like an 80s action film sort of attitude in a way.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, it looks really fun. I really
Really fun.
am interested in trying this out, and it might be a thing where I can only play for like 10 minutes and then I have to take a break. But
Yeah.
it looks really neat.
Yeah, it looks really, really cool. I like that the style, it's stylized, but also simple. That's a cool thing about VR games is that you can kind of get away with having the graphics be a little bit simpler, a little
Hmm.
bit lower res, just because that's the design of what they're working with.
Yeah,
Moving on to something I really didn't research because I feel like I can throw to
you
you
know
here a
what
little
it is.
bit, but it's Madden NFL 22. Got a 69 on OpenCritic. I don't really know how the last few Maddens have been ranking. Honestly, I think it's not one of them. I would imagine I would hazard saying it's not one of the more popular sports franchise games that comes out every year. But that being said, it looks fine. Looks like another year of Madden. You can see the sweat on the players' faces that much better.
What sucks about sports games is that's the thing is when you have a new console generation, like the first release or the first two releases are usually pretty bad. Like they aren't totally utilizing the new graphics and they really aren't doing anything revolutionary. Yeah, typically the first or first two sports games releases on a new generation are just not that great. I just want a new NCAA football game. I'll wait for that. And we know we've heard it's coming back soon. It might be
When's the last
2023,
time? When's the last time they came up with one of those?
2013. It was NCAA.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
So this is one of those dead sports, well, not dead, but like a dormant sports franchise.
Yeah, NCAA football 14. It came out in 2013, and the reason being because there were lawsuits with the NCAA and using players' likeness and stuff like that. But that a lot of those, I'm not going to go all in on this, but a lot
Yeah.
of name, image, and likeness things have changed in the last 6 months as far as college
Okay.
sports go. So the door has opened for that, and EA said that they are working on something, and probably won't see it till 2023 or 2024.
Very cool. That's exciting. It's cool to imagine. Maybe we'll get some more NCAA games in general, just for any sport, right?
God, I hope so.
And finally, something Matt is very excited about. We've been talking about it lots of times on the replay and on Game Grooves. Ghost of Tsushima director's cut. We all know what it is. Action RPG. It's a killer game. It got an 88 on OpenCritic. Is that better or worse than the original game Ghost of Tsushima? Did it
I
do
think it's
better?
about the same, maybe a little bit
About the
better.
same.
I think it's a little
Yeah.
better. I think the original may be an 86.
It looks awesome. I mean, all I have to say is you can pet cats, and it does use the dual sense to give it a little vibration, and we all love that. We love that.
Yeah. I'll be playing this later today, Paul. It's installed and it's ready to go. And as soon as this is edited and uploaded, I'll be playing Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut.
I love that. I wish you well. I hope it is really exciting. And then after that, you got to get around to playing Hades, as we discussed.
It is. I have added it to the list. It is on the list.
I love it. It's on the list. All right, we're moving into the news. We spent a long time on these reviews. Now we're moving into the news, and there is some crazy stuff. We actually put off recording a couple minutes earlier, and we almost missed the story if we'd recorded earlier. Halo Infinite will not have co-op campaign or Forge mode at launch, according to their August development update. Now this is not campaign. It will have single player campaign presumably, but not campaign co-op. and it won't have the Forge. It's being planned for Season 2, campaign co-op, which is interesting they use that moniker, Season 2, with Forge coming in Season 3. So this is very much a season game, which is interesting to see with a triple A full-on. This is a Halo game. It's going to have all the pieces: campaign, multiplayer, Forge, campaign co-op, but it's going to be released piecemeal, and the seasons will supposedly last for about 3 months or so. So a little longer than we might be seeing with like Fortnite, other battle royale games, but they obviously have less content, those games, theoretically. So they still plan to release holiday 2021, but they don't have a release date set yet. And 343, they haven't shown this, right? But 343 has already worked out a year one roadmap for post-launch support. So they behind the scenes have a plan. They know what they're going to do for at least a year. Presumably, I would imagine they probably have some other ideas cooking up, but at least a year, probably detailed plans. I mean, I think this is very interesting. I don't know if it's the first of its kind, but I'm willing to say maybe of a formerly AAA franchise game that all used to come in one bundle as one box, and now is coming out with part of it done and then releasing major game features in seasons later.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I don't know if I don't like it or do like it. I'm not sure how I feel.
It feels amateur to me. First off, I don't even really quite understand what's so difficult about co-op campaign that it can't come out alongside the single player campaign. What is it that you're what makes it so difficult?
Yeah.
I don't really understand that.
I don't know, but yeah, presumably obviously something.
But yeah, this is weird. At this point, I'm of the opinion that just delay it to mid 2022. Have everything come out at the same time. What is the rush? I mean, I guess you're trying to get money as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
but
they're getting that holiday money. The pressure's on, I'm sure, from Microsoft. I mean, they wanted this to be a launch title last year. It looked, we all saw the brute face, didn't look so great. They've had to do a lot of reworking, and the idea that it's not done now, presumably because they're trying to get it really right, I'm hoping, and they're trying to maybe take it in a very different direction. I'm in support of all of this, but I think maybe the pressure's on. In some ways, this is good and bad. I think it's good that we could maybe, so I'll start with good. I think it's good that maybe we could have this, or if they have half the game done now, or most, like the multiplayer and the main campaign on your own, that's most of the game out now. Why don't they put it out, and then for free update all these cool things later, and it's going to get more people to come back. They put it away for a bit, and then they say, hey, now we got this thing to bring you back in. That might be a good strategy, and it's better. People are going to get the game quicker to at least get some of what they want. But also on the flip side, let's talk about day one patches. This is the biggest thing. This is a 6 month from now patch that finishes the game. The game is coming out not completely not finished. Parts are finished, which is very interesting. Is it better to have? Now, here's a question: is it better to have, if they have to release it for holiday 2021? Obviously, this is better to put out some of the game perfectly finished than the full game but rushed and messy and not complete, right? I mean, so it's interesting that we have this option now with online, where you can release half the game, as opposed to, let's say Microsoft is like, you have to put this game out this holiday. This has to happen, right? It's nice that they can at least put out some good finished parts and not like a KOTOR 2 scenario where the game isn't even finished. Like the story isn't finished. So yeah.
My issue with this is that campaign is what we're paying for. So the fact that you're not getting co-op campaign with that at the same time feels like you're not getting as much for your money, because the multiplayer is going to be free. The campaign is essentially the only thing that you're paying for, aside from like battle pass stuff and cosmetics, whatever that's going to be in multiplayer. I still think eventually they're going to make the decision to just release multiplayer and then delay campaign as a whole, and that'll come out a couple months later. And then hopefully, presumably, with co-op campaign. I understand delaying Forge. I get that a little bit more. I can see where that could be a little more complicated to make it work properly. The thing is, co-op is such a big part of the Halo campaign.
More than almost any other game's campaign.
Right. One of my greatest Halo memories is you and me and a buddy of ours playing the Halo 3 campaign on launch day together.
Online, yep.
Yeah, and it was a great time. And I feel like launching campaign in Halo Infinite when that's what you're paying for. You're paying for the campaign, and to not have co-op as the option as an option just seems like a really bad idea.
It seems, yeah, I agree with you. It seems really sad. I think not like in a like what a sad world, but just it makes me sad to imagine that, like, this game comes out. Maybe let's say I'm not really at a point where I would play this single player. I would probably only play this to play it with my friends and go through
Exactly,
it.
me too.
But let's imagine I did care about the Halo story more. I'd play it, and then like what 3 months later. I'll be able to play it again with my friends. I probably already played it. I don't even know if I'm going to want to. It feels so weird in a Halo game. I think just scrap it at this point entirely if you're so like behind. Like, I don't know. It's just so funny. It's just so funny to be like to come out with this, and then I'd be so weird that I couldn't just jump in with my friend in Halo. I could do that in Halo 1. It's so weird to imagine I couldn't do it in Halo Infinite when I buy the game.
This is why I just really think they need to split these into two separate products. Halo Infinite multiplayer, Halo Infinite single player, or a campaign rather, because we want campaign to be multiplayer as well. So I really think at this point it just needs to be broken up into two separate products, because I don't want to pay for something that doesn't have half of it at launch. Why would I do that?
This reeks of not being done.
Yeah.
I think if this were a strategy, this would be like you said, where they release multiplayer first and then they release campaign later or something like that, and that'd be strategic in a way. But the fact that they would release multiplayer, which is free, and campaign without the co-op, to me feels like these are two of the most disparately different parts of the Halo experience. Single player campaign with no friends and only multiplayer.
Right.
Weird things to release at the same time.
Right.
I don't know. It's strange. We'll have to see. Do we have a confirmation on price for Halo Infinite?
We don't.
Because that I think is going to determine a lot too.
I imagine $60, but I don't know if they're going the $70 route or not. We haven't seen.
I think they should go 50.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, because it's just the campaign.
It's campaign only. I understand there's a Halo tax a little bit here. I understand that this is a big deal. It may not be a Nintendo tax, but I understand that they may want to not make it like $40 for a single player only, which they probably should. But I think 50 is fair. But if this becomes like a $60-$70 US dollar game, like that's a lot for a game where you can play the entire multiplayer without having to ever make that initial purchase.
Paul, everything I've said here in this episode, slap it all up on the fridge.
Yeah.
But also, in addition to that, okay, I'm gonna say they're not going to end up releasing the campaign without co-op. I just really think they're going to release the multiplayer and then the campaign later on. It's very clear that the multiplayer is in a way better state right now. I mean, they did public tests, with actual people. So we
talked about this. It makes a lot of sense. People will be playing. It's like Fortnite. If I play Fortnite now and you say, hey, you want a single player Fortnite game? I'd be like, yeah, it's pretty cool. I have a lot of characters. I'm getting the vibe of I'd like more of the story. Or Overwatch, the game's multiplayer only. They go, hey, you want more story from the world we built? Sure.
Yeah.
I think that'll make sense in this too. If we have a new generation of Halo players playing it multiplayer, playing it Battle Royale, playing it in Infinite, free to play. And then they go, hey, now that the campaign's out, I think it's going to make more money from especially younger generations than they would have if they had done it all at once or campaign first. All right, moving on. Talked about Halo forever, but I think that was pretty big news, actually, so I'm glad we got to cover that. Moving on, talking about Opening Night Live, we spoke about earlier. We're doing our awesome live stream, don't forget, on twitch.tv/Goodnight Groofs. Well, a tweet from Jeff Keighley today pretty explicitly teased an announcement for a Saints Row reboot. At Opening Night Live next week, of course, Saints Row, the delightfully, I would say, far more offensive version of Grand Theft Auto in a lot of ways, and more arcadey a little bit. Game series hasn't really had a major entry since 4, I believe, right? And even that was kind of not 100%, in the spirit of things.
Yeah, unless you consider Agents of Mayhem a Saints Row.
Fair enough. I have not played Saints Row since 3.
Okay.
I played in 4 for a little bit. I'll be honest, I know 2 is famously the best one, but I actually played 3. I found the series really, I played 1 a bunch, but I found the series really gripped me with 3. I played that so much. I remember my girlfriend at the time and I just spent an entire week locked inside, like switching off, playing Saints Row, and just had so much fun with it. And I actually went back and tried to play 2, and just because of some of the quality of life, I think, just from like
It's
the
outdated.
change in
Yeah.
it just felt a little more outdated, and it made it hard for me to get into it. And I was like, why did I play 3? No, I can't enjoy 2 anymore. But I had a blast. I think it's a hilarious, weird game. I actually, in a lot of ways, find it more enjoyable than GTA. Not that they have to compare, but I just find the arcadey goofiness a little more fun.
Yeah, I really like 2 and really like 3. 3 is the one that got like the remaster a couple years ago, I think.
Yes.
And with 4, you really saw them starting to, I mean, I guess jump the
Precedent.
shark. I mean, it got a little crazy.
Superpowers.
Yeah, it got a little
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
I didn't finish 4. I didn't. It just
No.
wasn't my thing. It was too far removed from what 2 and 3 were. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed 2 as a different kind of take on what GTA is basically.
Mhm.
I would play with cheat codes often, just running around doing
Yeah.
stuff. And I think 2, it might have been 3, but I think 2 was when they introduced the apartment that you could like upgrade and stuff.
Yes. Yes.
And it was just a good time, man. Saints Row was just pure fun. It knew how
Yep.
ridiculous it was. Like
Yep.
I said, I think they kind of jumped the shark a little bit with 4. But I am all about a reboot. If we can like kind of go back to the basics of what made Saint Row good, which was the humor and the wackiness and crudeness, and I want to say it's like it's GTA but more colorful,
Yep.
essentially. And where GTA is a little bit more satire, Saints Row is a little bit more
It's more earnest, and it's like
eccentric.
almost like, yeah, it's more earnest, and it's almost like after dark Saturday morning cartoons or something. Like
right.
it's like a dirty version of Saturday morning cartoons, and how insane and crazy and over the top all the characters are. I don't know. It's a blast. I remember playing the Saints Row 1 demo on Xbox 360 back when I just played demos all the time.
Yeah.
I played that. I'd shudder to see how many hours I have in that. Because I used to roll around to that all the time. I love that that thing.
Yeah, I'm excited about a reboot. I hope they do it the right way, and hopefully this is something I can enjoy during our live stream next week.
Yeah, I'm hoping we don't get a release date too far off. I'll maybe like Dead Space. Maybe something in the next year. Be nice to see something like that versus like, hey, we're working on it. We were gonna. It's like that. They put the logo up and we're like, okay. We'll see it in a couple of years. No, not interested.
Within the next year, please. We don't need
Please.
a Saints Row reboot to be announced for greater than a
right?
year out.
Like it's not that. Yeah, it's cool. It's fun. Just do it. If it comes out on the day, I don't know. I'll shave my toes. Is that like a thing? I don't know. I'm trying to like
shadow drop. Yeah,
shadow drop.
Shadow drop. Shave the toes.
Shadow drop. Shave the toes. Speaking of shadow drop. A Quake remaster was announced yesterday, and then just shortly after, we saw some ESRB ratings kind of sneak in. It shadow dropped. Well, I just want to say, I remember reading the news of the ESRB rating before the shadow drop. I did get in a little bit after as well, and man, oh man, a lot of disappointment. Just because a lot of people were really hoping this was going to be a sneaky remaster or a sneaky like remake.
Yeah.
A Doom 2016. Kind of remake of Quake.
Right.
It's not. It's Quake. It is a nice remaster. It's very faithful. They did a great job, it looks like. It's got 4K
clean.
Widescreen resolution support, enhanced models, dynamic, colored, lighting. It's got everything. Anti-aliasing, depth of field, and Trent Reznor. He's still there. We got all the Trent Reznor music. We love that. So yeah, it's pretty great. It's $10, but it's also on Game Pass, which is pretty cool. Makes sense, obviously. And I don't know if it'll be something I play. I still think it's a little bit of too bad to not get a remake. I know it's not the news, but it's that might have grabbed me. I find Doom 2016. I know it's like a masterpiece, but I just find it's a little too chaotic, running around a little bit. And from what I gather, Quake is more like you just get in a room and everything goes crazy on you. That seems more fun to me actually than Doom did. So, but oh well, maybe I'll give this a try too.
Yeah, I have like no interest in any single player aspects of this, but I never played the original Quake, so I actually kind of am interested in just to jump in for some arena shooter fun, some old school arena shooter fun, almost like I owe it to gaming history to experience this.
Yep.
So I might just jump into it. It looks like you were, listing all the upgrades that they put into this remaster, and it just looks really clean.
Looks really good.
Obviously it's still like really old school, but it looks really clean. So I might give this a shot, Paul. Look, it looks like a good time. Like I
I
feel
agree.
like I could spend a good hour or two and just in this and get my fill.
Yeah, I agree. Looks like a lot of fun. Speaking of things coming back, I mean, so this never left, but Skyrim, of course, is getting a 10th anniversary edition. That's right, 10 years, and we're still getting, hey, it's like 10 years of Skyrim. Let's look back fondly on all the games that have come out since then in the Elder Scrolls series. Just kidding. Skyrim again, baby. So we got more Skyrim, just a year away from the launch of Starfield. November 11th, 2021, the 10-year anniversary. It's coming out, and couple issues with it. First thing, it does add fishing to the game, which is pretty interesting. Actually, I really like that. Adding fishing is always a winner. Guild Wars 2 is going to do it with End of Dragons, which is really cool. As we talked about, one of the best WoW features is fishing. But I saw a lot of pushback on this. Namely, one of the major things that is coming to this is just basically the regular game, but full of, I think it's like 100 or 1,000 Creation Club features.
Yeah, a lot of
are getting
things.
added to the game. Skyrim is famously a game that is heavily modded by the community. This very few, I think, hardcore Skyrim people still play it unmodded, especially on PC. But there are mods available on console as well. And this Creation Club content will inherently fuck up mod orders, mess with mods. There may be mods that haven't been touched in 5 to 10 years that will no longer work because there isn't someone to kind of come in there and fix that mod if they've been abandoned. The main issue is the term upgrade. I think that's the issue that a lot of people are having. They didn't use the term upgrade with Skyrim Special Edition. They said they're giving Special Edition to people who had Legendary, I think it was. And so in this one, they're using the term upgrade, and then we have not gotten a confirmation yet that they aren't going to just upgrade your old copy and make it so you have to use the anniversary edition. We don't know that yet. This could be a Warcraft 3 Reforged scenario where you're stuck with the new version and you may not be able to roll back. So I think a lot of people are interested in the fishing, but I also saw people who are like, hey, listen, I'm just going to turn the updates off and modders will figure out fishing in like 5 minutes after the game launches.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm sure there's already a fishing mod.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that already exists. So, yeah, if this is an option, I can see a lot of people who are still playing Skyrim just not even using this.
This is cool, I think, for people who I'm sure probably the majority of people who lightly play Skyrim. This is probably pretty cool just to like get an upgraded version with a whole bunch of awesome Creation Club stuff and fishing and just get it awesome. And for noobs, if someone still has not somehow played Skyrim and you for some reason actually want to, I mean, don't wait for this anyway. Just go get Skyrim. But yeah, but otherwise, I don't know. I don't know if it's really gonna. It's not supposed to be wowing anyone who already has it and has put hundreds of hours in.
Well, here's my question for you: is this the final release we ever see of Skyrim?
Well, this one is going to have upgrades for next gen, not anything major, but little stuff. So I mean, this is kind of the next gen release. I will go on record saying yes. Not ever, but yes, before another Elder Scrolls game.
Okay.
I'm sure we may see a remastered, remade something Skyrim years from now. But I think this will be the last Skyrim we get until Elder Scrolls 6.
Okay, interesting. I am still gonna say that I think we're gonna see a Skyrim remake before Elder Scrolls 6.
We might get a port, but it depends on what comes out. Like Nintendo comes out with another system, and they might port Skyrim to that, and that might count.
Yeah, true.
That would count, but I don't know. We'll see. Very interesting, though. It's a good question. I think we're done. I think this is it. 10 years. I think it's almost ludicrous. I mean, it's always been ludicrous, but at a certain point, we've reached that threshold long ago. But 10 years, it's like you're drawing attention to how silly it is.
You know what it is missing? And I just thought about this, and I do think that this is going to happen, is Skyrim's going to be on mobile. They'll put it on mobile soon.
Mobile still can't handle it.
That'll be another release. It's gonna come to in the next 5 years. It's coming to mobile. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we have to. That's the question. Will Elder Scrolls 6 come out in the next 5 years? I don't know.
You don't think it could handle it? It can. It's on the Switch.
I know, but that was specially ported. I guess they could put. It took a lot of time, I think, to do that. I don't know. Mobile's weird. Mobile's weird. They might be able to do it. The problem is they may not be able to do. They may be able to do it, but would they make the money back from it? And I think that's the issue. People don't famously don't pay for full games on the Switch.
True.
I don't know. Like and the Switch version of Skyrim did not come out at a $10 sale. It came out at full price, and people paid it because they wanted to play it on their Switch. People won't pay $60 for Skyrim on the phone. People will. Someone will, but not enough to probably make up for how much it would cost to port it. I don't know, but yeah, I'm not sure that's really where it is yet. All right, moving right along, talking about we talked about I don't know, who knows? I'm losing track here. PSVR. Now we're moving on to Facebook VR. Facebook, our favorite metaverse. I'm just kidding. It's Fortnite is obviously our favorite metaverse, but Facebook unveiled their VR workplace metaverse called Horizon Workrooms. A little terrifying, a little bit Soylent Green sounding, but also a little pleasing to the ears. Maybe it's just making me think of Forza Horizon. Horizon Workrooms. It is part of a larger umbrella project called Horizon, which will be Facebook's full VR metaverse. Yes, I also shuddered when I heard Facebook's full VR metaverse.
Yeah, God,
I
no.
saw the future of our civilization flash before my eyes. Up to 16 people can be in the VR space, with an additional 34 people able to join over video call without a VR headset. Cool. I'll just really quickly get my point out, which is I think we have to. Well, I have more of a point too, but I think we have to prove that this can do something new and will add something to the working environment before we have really much to say about it, unfortunately.
Yeah, so the video of Mark Zuckerberg in VR with his avatar explaining this thing
Nightmare
was
fuel.
fucking hilarious.
It is.
It is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
you are one of the largest corporations in the entire world, and your shit looks like VR chat? What are we doing? Why
Yeah.
why does it look like this? Why?
I guess maybe to make it accessible on different pieces of hardware, maybe to make it something that won't be too hard to run.
I guess I'm expecting something to look more professional, like something to, especially because it's for a workplace. Like, Paul, I have a really hard time seeing this ever taking over Zoom or Microsoft Teams. How are you going to expect all these boomers in the office to put on VR headsets?
So I think it could, but I think there's two things that has to happen. First off, I think this is an enterprise tool, right? So this is something that no one will be buying. No one needs to have an Oculus Rift or something. This is going to be provided by a company, I would imagine, in this scenario, like they provide you a work laptop or something in this scenario. And I think also it's probably only going to be used in very certain teams that benefit. That's where I think we're going to get into the issue here is they have a lot of testing to do, and I think we have yet to really see studies or statistics, but can we see a notable benefit in productivity or work-life balance or anything from using VR over just using Zoom or Microsoft Teams? I don't think we know enough yet. It's very possible. I think this could make work from home better. Or even just working in different offices around the world. I think that could make it better. I think it's inarguable that being in a physical space with someone generally does seem to produce better results in team collaborative work.
Yeah.
And this does seem better in some way. It seems like it could get you closer to that. Obviously, it's VR. But the question is, how close, and is it worth the cost and the training and for people to understand how to use VR, especially like you said, boomers who don't know how to turn on their laptop. I'm not saying all boomers, but I'm saying the ones who do, having to try to learn VR technology. I'm not saying they can't learn. I think anyone could learn to use this product. But the question is, will the percentage of benefit be worth the time? I think yes. I think it probably will, but we have yet to see. So
I think the question that we're going to have to answer is, what's more important between the two? Being in a quote unquote physical space with each other in VR, or actually seeing facial expressions, like on a Zoom camera or something like that. I personally think that seeing an actual person's face in this sort of scenario, this work scenario, is more important than being next to someone in VR. But there's no studies for it yet, as far as I know. Yeah. So that's something that we'll figure out going forward. But I just feel like seeing the actual person is probably more important than
So here,
VR.
So here's what we do. We get a camera. We make special cameras. I don't know how to do that.
You put the camera inside the VR headset that looks back at you. It scans your face.
I'm trying to figure out how you could have like a floating. It would look, even if they could do it, it'd be horrifying. A floating version of your real human face on a VR chat character.
You know what you can do though, and because they've been doing this in like the NBA 2K games for years already. You have an app on
Facial
your
scanning.
phone, that scans your face and it puts it onto a character in the game. And so sometimes, like if you do it properly, you can actually make it look pretty good.
Yeah, there's remarkable tech for that, and even using our phones, there's some pretty powerful camera tech. I mean, iPhone 12 series, the Pro ones, have LiDAR cameras now that have like depth and can map a room. Can see objects from distance and map them. Pretty incredible. Some of the tech we have, and hopefully, putting that in. I don't know if Horizon Workrooms is there yet. I think maybe they should have waited on the multiverse, the metaverse. I'm thinking of Loki now. Maybe they should have waited on the metaverse till they had something more groundbreaking, like you're saying, as opposed to coming out with VR Chat 2.0, but for Facebook. But we have yet to see. I'm optimistic. I hope that this adds. I would prefer to work in VR in a collaborative little VR room, I think, than I would Zoom if it were good. I think that seems cool. So yeah, we'll have to see.
I think it's interesting because there are ways in the last 5 years that like work has been gamified.
Yeah.
In certain ways, I almost wonder if the whole VR thing, if it's a little too much. Like, is it a little too silly to be in VR with your coworkers around a meeting table? I don't know.
I think again, maybe now because it's so fringe, but maybe the right product. I mean, I don't know. All right, moving right along. Final story of the day. Talking about our buddies over at Epic Games. Already got into hot water this week with the Among Us developers over their imposters mode. Well, now they're at it again. I'm just kidding. This is actually positive. It's almost kind of like an in-your-face to Inner Sloth that they're now doing something pro indie devs. They're going to begin inviting indie devs to self-publish on the Epic Game Store, much like what we have on Steam. This should help to increase the game library drastically. I mean, right now, if you look at the number of games on Steam from 10 years ago versus now, when they really started to open it up to more indies, I mean, it's like tenfold. It's crazy how many games there are now, which is cool because it will help. I mean, not cool for us, but cool for Epic because it will help legitimize the Epic Game Store, which is their dream. But also, you take a look at some of those games on Steam. A lot of shovelware, a lot of garbage.
Yeah. Some unsavory shit too.
I saw a post. Yes, I saw a post recently from people talking about like 2011, the banner year of gaming, and they were talking about how like the Steam, even though there were so many, and people were like, oh, there wasn't as many indies then. Actually, like, yes, there were less indies on Steam, like 10% of the indies on Steam, but their overall Metacritic score was higher because they were better games, because now we have all these bad games dragging it down. So cool, I guess, but also, I kind of like the Epic, the fact that if I'm gonna like get into the Epic Game Store, that every game I see on there usually is like a good game usually.
Yeah.
Because they only have partnerships with like developers that exist already or they think are gonna make them money.
Yeah, this is a great program. I hope it works out, but let's make sure that we curate this thing a little bit better than Steam. Like Steam has a game on there that's literally like 10 seconds long that's $250. So I don't know if it's some sort of money laundering thing or what, but it's
a scam.
It's a scam. It's a
for noobs.
Something, I don't know.
It's like that thing they used to have on the iPhone where you buy it for like $1,000 and it would just turn your screen red.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people bought it. They sold like 7 times or something.
Insane people.
Yeah.
Now the funny thing is, I think I've seen like people buy this thing on Steam as a goof, and then you have the refund thing.
Yeah.
We sort of discussed this a little bit on Game Groofs last night, in the sense that I was talking about how it's possible that devs and publishers might be wary of publishing on the Epic Game Store now after seeing Fortnite Imposters and how they've, Epic will take ideas and put it in their own games. And
yeah,
there's something to be said about Epic having data on the games being sold on their own storefront and what's popular and what they could potentially copy in the future. So I think that's something to think about. Again, as far if it's small indies, I don't think it's really going to be an issue. But if something, explodes and gets super popular, then does that mean we're going to see a Fortnite mode real quick because they saw the statistics before everyone else?
That's where I think it is an issue when you look at these small indie developers who don't have the kind of the money and the resources to get onto a game store, and then having this like ability to get into a game store and seemingly for free to self-publish it on the game store. That to me screams, when you see a company like Epic who will steal anything, screams red flag, red lights blaring. You're a small indie, you don't have a lot of resources, you may not even have a large following that'll notice if your game gets stolen from. You could tweet about it all you want, but like you may not even be heard.
Right.
I'm not saying they're going to steal because I'm not going to say they're going to have better access necessarily to the code of the game or anything, but they're going to see what's popular from their own store, and they're going to see also a lot of statistics on games that may not even be popular but might be trending in a certain way. So it's
Yeah.
like, it may not even be the game might not even be popular before Epic steals the idea, and then they become the ones who basically like pioneered it, right? And no one will even know because they see like, oh, this is about to blow up, quick, let's put it in Fortnite
Right.
before it blows up, so then we'll be the ones who knew about it, right?
Right. Or they'll see like a lot of people who play Fortnite also play this other game in their statistics, and that sort of thing. They're like, well, if our Fortnite players are leaving our game to play this other game, then we'll just put our own mode in there.
Yep, and before it may be a game that the general public doesn't even really know about, and they never will if the Fortnite grabs it before they even get started. I'm not saying this is what Epic is going to do. I'm not trying to be Mr. Paranoid, out here slandering the company, but I will say this makes me very nervous comparatively to looking at like something like Valve and Steam. I mean, I'm not saying they're blameless, but they're certainly far more of the good guys of the gaming world than a lot of other companies in comparison, and Epic is very known for this kind of behavior in general. So,
well, it's like what you said on Game Groofs, that there isn't a conflict of interest because Valve isn't really developing their own service games.
Exactly. Yes.
Whereas Epic is.
Epic is making a huge game that is, again, a service game based on like a bunch of different. Well, I mean, it became a bunch of different game modes basically that they stole from other games. They made Save the World, which was like a zombie game with building elements, a horde game, and then PUBG was popular, so they made their own spin on it. It was a little different because they had the building elements already, but I'm sure if they hadn't already built the building elements, they would have just scrapped those and just made PUBG 1-to-1.
Totally.
The only reason there's building in Fortnite is because they already had it, and so they're like, whatever, I guess we'll just put it in there. We have it, right? This will be our little differentiator.
Totally.
But they would not have bothered to build that otherwise. And then Among Us, I mean, this game is like an exact 1-to-1 replica of Among Us Imposters. So I mean, yeah, this is. I mean, not to belabor the point, but I would be definitely more apt, unless there's some really good incentives, and maybe at the beginning of this there may be, because it maybe if only by the nature of there aren't as many games on the Epic Game Store yet. So being one of the first indies to get on there will get you by nature of it more exposure.
Yeah.
But I think I still might be more willing to put myself over on Steam if I were making a game than over on Epic. Because I just feel like I feel like 10 years from now, we're going to have like a big journalistic report where they go through and they talk about all the games that got crushed by Epic that no one even heard of.
Now, like, I will say this is speculation on our part.
Of course.
It is, aside from ripping off PUBG and ripping off Among Us, Epic actually does really good things for developers as far as profit sharing and having Unreal Engine being free and stuff like that. So they actually do a lot for devs. Now, but it doesn't help them that we now have this new example of, taking Innersloth's ideas and basically copying it one for one, like you said. But yeah, I mean, it's I think that this is definitely something to keep an eye on.
Something to keep an eye on. It could be on one side exciting, on another side, yeah, it's Epic. So we'll have to see. Some intense discussion here. I feel like we really went off the rails on that.
Good episode, Paul. It was.
It was a great episode. It was good to end Friday on a strong note, because I feel like sometimes, Friday's a laid back day, but it didn't really feel laid back. We really went in. So I hope everyone at home has enjoyed Game Groofs, or GG Replay rather, so far. And if you do enjoy it, feel free to head on over to our website, goodnightgroofs.com. We actually have a blog. We have videos, we have podcasts, we have links to all our socials where we post exclusive content. And we also have a link to our Patreon. So if you're feeling extra generous and you feel like maybe dropping us any dollars, we do have a $1, $3, and $5 tier. The $3 tier will get you early access to our all-encompassing gaming podcast, Game Groofs, which if you were a patron, it came out today. But if not, it will be out on Sunday. And definitely remember to listen to that this weekend if you get a free moment. And otherwise, just exclusive content, just shout outs, access to us for questions and things like that. Generally we just want to be able to make these are almost like placeholder things we have right now as Patreon perks. They're good perks. But also, right now the money is really about getting us to a point where we can make better content for everyone out there. And make shows that you guys love to listen to and watch. And hopefully with your support, we can do that. Yeah. Also, if you're listening to this on audio podcast or on YouTube, thumbs it up or give us a 5-star rating or comment. Do it all. Do all three. If there isn't a thumb, just shove your thumb into your phone screen or your computer screen. I'm not officially saying to do that. That was officially a joke. But do it for real.
I thought that when you said shove your thumb, I thought it was going a different direction. I'm glad you instead told people to break their phones.
Yeah, and presumably their thumbs in that scenario. I think your thumb would break far quicker than your phone would break if you tried to jam your thumb at full blast at your phone screen.
And also, shove that thumb up your ass as well, if you're so inclined.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is egregious.
I apologize.
All right. So yeah, we really, really appreciate that. All support is loved and accepted by us. We do accept it. We do not reject your love. I don't know why. I'm losing the train, man. It's Friday. Matt, do you have any weekend plans? Besides Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut?
Just enrolling in Peppa Perks.
Peppa Perks? Yeah, I love it. I keep saying Peppa now because you said Peppa Pig. Ah there, sweet sugar. I'm Peppa Perks. Want to try some chocolate Dr. Pepper?
All right, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching and listening to GG Replay for Friday, August 20th, 2021. Don't forget to listen to GG Goodnight or Game Groofs on Sunday. And GG Replay will be back again on Monday. But until then, good night, Groofs.
I'll go take a nap.